Hi, friends. Welcome to the latest and hopefully greatest top 10 list that I'm doing over the next 12 weeks. I'm doing 12 gift guides just for y'all to help with your holiday and beyond gift giving season. And last week I did the top 10 first games for your collection, and this week it's week 2, so I figured, hey, the number 2, let's do our top 10 two-player games. All right, moving right to it. I've got number 10, Claim. So this one, Michelle and I really enjoyed this. We were surprised actually how much we enjoyed this because I had heard Claim was a good game. It's a trick-taking game, so trick-taking is not our favorite mechanism, but it really works here. And I was surprised because everyone says Fox in the Forest is the best two-player trick-taking game. I like Fox in the Forest. I actually like the Fox in the Forest Duet, the co-op version as well. But Claim, it's more my jam. I think it's snappier. It's just quicker to play, and it's really an interesting way that they did trick taking. It's basically, you play your tricks, and it's set collection. You're trying to collect sets of these different factions, and you're going to score points depending on who has the most. Now, the thing that's really cool, it starts with, I think you got 4 factions in the base game, but then they have so many expansions with different factions, different abilities. You play them, and then you just go through the deck. You shuffle all the factions up together. I think it's 4 maybe, and then as you can see, Michelle and I are just playing cards, playing tricks, and whoever gets wins the trick will get that power or ability, and at the end you're going to score depending on which factions you get. Now, I was so surprised how much we like this, and then I realized I didn't even know this until we played it a few times. I don't know if I just sort of wasn't paying attention, but Scott Alms is the designer of this. I love Scott Alms games. He does all the Tiny Epic games. He's done a bunch of cool stuff, and Claim is a wonderful two-player game. It's very easy to learn. As long as you know basic trick taking, and they do explain it in the rules how trick taking works, you can easily learn this and knock out a game in like 15-20 minutes. So if you like trick taking game for a two-player version, I think this one, again, Fox in the Forest is a good one. I prefer Claim, and it has a ton of expansions, and that's why it's our number 10. All right, let's move on to our number 9 two-player game, Codenames Duet. So yeah, this is my version of Codenames that I enjoy, and I played it here online. I played it with Michelle, but here I got to join my buddy Jazz from the Lobby of Hobbies, and hey, I just happened to be wearing a shirt. That was totally coincidence. I swear I didn't set that up, but funny how it works. Codenames Duet. Codenames, folks, I mean, the party game of the last 5-6 years or so. It's been a huge hit. You can find it everywhere. This is the one that is a two-player specific version where you're cooperating, trying to get all the answers there. So basic Codenames works. So you say one word, and you're trying to get your partner, in this case, to guess the words that it's related to. So in this case, I see words like tiger, meter, engine, memory. If you said something like animal 1, that means your clue animal relates to one of those words. So you would probably pick tiger. And what you're trying to do though is try to be a lot more efficient. You're trying to get it within a certain time frame, a certain number of turns. So you want to do words that could sort of talk about more than one word, so your partner can guess. Hey, if I did animal 3, what 3? Okay, obviously tiger, but hey, maybe another animal could be, this one or that one. You never know. Like ruler. Ruler, you don't think about animals, ruler, but hey, king of the jungle is a lion. Maybe that's ruler. And that's what the brilliance is of Codenames, right? That sort of trying to figure out what your opponents get into their heads and see. There's a lot of meta to this as well. Now, the Codenames Duet thing, what I like is that you're gonna have 2 assassins. So what are the assassins? Glad you asked, Ruel. The assassins are words that you do not want your partner to guess, or else you just lose immediately. So it's got this very thin theme of being spies or whatever, and trying to get the correct code to them. So you want to avoid saying those words. And it's always funny when you say a word, give a clue, and then you realize right after you say it, oh no, it could totally relate to the assassin. Oh, that's such a funny feeling. But it's a great party game. I like the two-player version better. It just works better for me and Michelle. I know there was a variant that there was in the original Codenames that you could play too, but I feel like this just works better. You work on the same board like this. and you have, you know, different objectives, and you're still trying not to find those assassins. And they actually have like this little map that you can go on where you're, you know, going from different countries, and it's like almost like a campaign style. I haven't even touched that yet, but that is a great number 9 two-player game, Codenames Duet. All right, let's move on to our number 8 best two-player games for 2022, a classic, Star Realms. I will always love Star Realms. There have been, there's a lot of deck building games, and I actually probably prefer, I mean, I should have put on this list if I prefer, but I really enjoy Shards of Infinity. But there's something, Star Realms is an evergreen title. They're always releasing, you know, expansions to it. They have solo modes. Here I'm playing with my friend Amy Dallin on Steam right here. We played that. I don't know, did she, I think she crushed me. Did she win? I forget. But shout out to Amy. She's a wonderful person. Y'all know her on the internet, in the interwebs, actor, you know, geek, gaming geek, you know, comic geek. Oh, she's the best. She actually, we played this one on my channel. We played Clank on Game the Game over there on Geek and Sundry. So I invited back for, you know, to have a rematch, a deck building rematch. But anyways, deck building, a two-player game. This is one of the first, if not the first, like battle deck building where it was like you versus your opponent, like head to head. So this is a lot of like, you know, you're trying to knock them down to 0 health or authority in this case to win the game. It's got the you know, sci-fi theme, which of course I'm always gonna love. But all the expansions, they bring in, you know, different abilities, different types of cards. And what I love too is they have solo modes. So Star Realms Frontiers is the one that introduced the solo mode, where you have like, you know, a big like Nemesis Beast, or I forget the name of all the different challenges, but like the Nemesis Beast is like the blob, the green one, and they have certain things. So when you draw cards, it'll show you how to, you know, react to it and what they do for damage, and you're trying to knock them down to 0. Oh, it's so much fun. You can see here, Amy and I had a great time playing. This is just the base game, which I play a ton of this on the app. So if you are, you know, on the app, oh, look at that. I'm doing some silly stuff on Twitch. Who would have guessed? If you're on the app, find me at Ruel Gaviola. I always have constantly like 3, 4, or 5 games running. It's just, it's like a no-brainer at this point, but it's so much fun. So that is my number 8, Star Realms, a fantastic deck building game on our two-player list here. Let's move on to my number 7 best two-player games, 7 Wonders Duel. This, oh man, I could have easily ranked this higher, but I'll be honest, I haven't played it in a little while. I may have burned out a little bit on this, but it's still outstanding design. It made, like, as much as I enjoyed 7 Wonders, I totally prefer, and I think a lot of people prefer the two-player version. It's just clever, and number one, I just love the fact that science doesn't require a calculator anymore when you do the science scoring. But as you can see, the tableau, hey, I'm playing with my friend Christian Kang. Christian, one of my all-time favorite YouTube channels. He moved on from content creation, but I actually play games with him on BGA still. Here's the game that we played on BGA, 7 Wonders Duel, but he's doing fine, and I'm happy to see him. We got to play 7 Wonders Duel, and that was a great time. So, you know, it's a tableau builder. You are collecting resources in the early rounds and trying to get those point scoring buildings in your civilization later. There's also military. In this case, the military, I love this in 7 Wonders Duel. It's more of a tug of war. So you're literally pushing or pulling that military token left or right, depending on how much strength you have, rather than comparing it to your partners in the regular 7 Wonders. Science is more of a set collection thing. You're collecting symbols, and which is similar to the science in 7 Wonders, but it doesn't have that funky, like, you know, hey, if you have 3 of a certain type, then you have like a certain multiplier and so forth. You still build your wonders. You're taking cards, and you know, I really do love the way the cards are set up in this tableau, because you can plan sort of, with what you see there, but there's going to be in every pyramid or every shape. Here, I'll move up in the video a little bit. You'll see the shape changes. You'll be able to see some of the upcoming resources or buildings, and then there's other ones that you cannot see. So it's got a little push your luck to it. Like, oh, do I take the sure thing, or do I try to open up some more cards to see what's there? And that's what I think it's a brilliant design, and it actually elevated for me Seven Wonders Duel from over the original. So that's number 7. I had to put it at number 7. Come on, Seven Wonders Duel makes sense, right? I'm gonna hydrate real quick. So that's number 7 of 2-player games. Let's move on to my number 6. It's not Six Wonders Duel. It is a brand new game, Splendor Duel. Michelle and I, my gosh, we love Splendor. And actually, if you go back and watch my previous week's episode, first 10 games in a collection, you'll see Splendor was on there. Now, on this one, the 2-player version of the list, Splendor Duels, it shot right up immediately in our top 10. I love Splendor Duel. Michelle and I absolutely adore the original. I like this one better, straight up. We did this for the Rahdo channel. That's us doing our playthrough. It takes Splendor, folks, and again, Bruno Cathala, I didn't mention his name. So, Antoine Bauza did Seven Wonders Duel. Brought in Bruno Cathala, did Seven Wonders Duel. Now, Marc-Andre, the original designer of Splendor, brings in Bruno Cathala, and he does it again, folks. He's 2 for 2. Bruno Cathala at this point, folks, I mean, he's like the Nate Dogg of designers, right? You bring it in, guaranteed hit. I can't believe some of the stuff that comes out of my mouth sometimes. Did I just compare Bruno Cathala to Nate Dogg? Yes, I did. I mean, he's more than that. Nate Dogg, he was more... What am I doing? I'm bringing up, rest in peace, Nate Dogg. But anyways, Bruno Cathala, a great designer in his own right. But, you bring him in, he's going to produce hits with you. Splendor, it's a light engine building game. You're taking gems and trying to convert them to bring in bigger and better gems for the royalty there. As you can see, though, instead of the gems that you just choose, whatever you want in the original game, here you've got to stick to what's on the board. You can take up to 3 adjacent. So you're not always going to get the colors you want. So you got to deal with that. And then here as well, you have an additional gem or a resource called the Pearl. And those are very rare. There's only 2 in the whole thing. And then you have 3 different victory conditions. So cards are going to cost different. They're going to cost different prices of different gems. You could either win, like in the original, I think the original is 15 prestige points, victory points. In this one, you need 20 to win in your little tableau. Because as you're buying cards, you're building a tableau that gives you discounts for future purchases. You can also win by winning with 10 crowns. So some of the cards have crowns on them. And finally, you can win with 10 points on one color. So if you had prestige points in blue, black, green, whatever, if you have 20 altogether, that's you win. But if you had 10 points strictly on black, you win again. So there's 3 different win conditions, and I love that. And then you have the privilege tokens as well. Whenever you replenish the board, your opponent gets one. The privilege tokens allows you to grab any one token from the board in addition to your regular turn. Oh man, this is so good. And I don't know if you can see there. Yeah, you can. On some of the different cards that you buy, not only do they have crowns, but they give you different abilities. So one will let you grab a token from the board. Another will let you steal a token from your opponent. So just a little bit of take that in this game. Another token or another card, a power on lets you take another turn immediately. There's also, in this case, instead of the nobles, they're called royals. They're each worth 2 points, except one of them is just worth 3 points straight up. The ones worth 2 points, when you fulfill the requirements, you get an additional ability. So in this case, instead of having different certain colors to get the nobles, or royalty in this case, you have to have a certain number of crowns. So for your first 3 crowns, you get 1 noble or royalty, and for the 6 crowns, you'll get a second royal. I love this. It is totally, taking Splendor to the next level. We loved it. So that's why it's our number 6. I could talk about this game all day long. It's literally a brand new game. I think it'll be out, let me see, it's October 12th as I'm recording this. It should be out by next month, and we're very lucky to get an early copy of this to do on the Rahdo channel. That's our number 6, Splendor Duel. Thanks for listening to me just rant about that one. I love the game. Let's move on to number 5, best two-player games, folks. Lost Cities, a classic. And here is Amanda and Daryl playing Lost Cities during Gaviola Game Day on my channel. Yeah, you can see it there. Yeah. So Lost Cities, I had to have a Knizia on here, and I really, it was a toss-up, honestly, between Lost Cities and Schotten Totten. I think those two are brilliant 2-player games. And I just realized I didn't talk about some of the criteria for the list today. The criteria mainly is consisted of one thing here. The games that selected for this list, folks, are 2-player only games. So I liked a lot of games at 2-player, like the original Splendor, but that actually plays 2 to 4 players. These that are on the list today are strictly 2-player games. And Lost Cities, this game, look at this. It was released in 1999. Folks, that is over 20 years ago, and it's still one of my favorites. I play a bunch of this on BGA, and it's always a good time. It's got this really nice tension where you're drawing a card, you must play a card first, then you draw a card, and you're trying to, it's really a super light theme of like adventuring, like Indiana Jones style, but basically it's just a tableau builder. You have cards numbered 2 through 10 in various colors, and you're trying to lay them down and get them as in sequential order, going 2, 3, 4, etc. You can skip numbers, but here's the thing. Once you start any expedition or any tableau or column in your tableau, you get negative 20 points. So Reiner Knizia, don't mess around. You play one, you got to be committed. You lose 20 points immediately. But once you start playing the cards, they're going to start, chipping away at that negative 20. And, hopefully you'll get the big 10 pointer, because then that'll usually put you over the edge. Now they do have these things called handshakes, basically doublers. So you get double points. So, it's really interesting. Like, sometimes there's just no time, or you have no card to play. How do you play it? You can play in the middle of the board, but that means your opponent can take it. So you don't want to help your opponent. But if you play it in front of your tableau, then you have to commit and make sure you get those points. Oh, it's so good. It's such a clean design, and it's pretty much what I love about Knizia games. Very low rules overhead, very high in strategic depth, and it really holds up well to multiple plays, right? Oh, it's fantastic. I love it. And he's actually done 3 versions of this, like his other games where he does iterations. They've actually rethemed, I think was it Keltis? I forget the name of it, but that became Lost Cities, the board game, which Michelle and I enjoy too. We have all our Lost Cities. We have Lost Cities, the card game, which you're watching right now, or what I'm talking about right now. Lost Cities, the board game, which takes a similar mechanism to building up, but it actually has a board that you go and explore and stuff. And then Lost Cities, the roll and write, which I probably like the least, but I still love the fact that it captures the feeling of the original Lost Cities. We have them, all 3 of them. I actually got rid of the boxes for 2 of them and just put it all in the board game box. But I had to pick this one because it's 2 players only. The other ones, they can play up to 4, I believe. But, it's a classic for a reason. Lost Cities, folks. If you're going to get a Reiner Knizia game today, this would be it. It's totally affordable, and it's a classic for a reason. It's brilliant. Love it. Okay, gonna move on to my number 4, but say bye to Daryl and Amanda. Bye, Daryl and Amanda. Number 4. Oops, where'd it go? Oh, okay. Number 4 is Watergate. Yeah, this has been one of mine and Michelle's favorite games of recent years. Thematically, it's brilliant. It is about the Watergate scandal back in the 70s, and what you're doing is one player is the Watergate administration, the other player is the press, the Washington Post and all of them, trying to take down the Nixon administration while the Nixon administration is trying to make it through till the next election and, get away with their crimes, basically. As you can see, a lot of things going on here, but at its heart, it is a hand management game. I like to call this a mini Twilight Struggle. It has a very similar thing where you're playing event cards, doing the actions, but you're trying to save some of them and for later. So certain cards you play, you have to get rid of them out of the game. Other cards will recycle in your game, and there's, you can see there in the video, I'm playing an event. So you can play cards for their number value, or you can take the event, and that'll make them, if you do the event, they're going to get kicked out of the game. It's a one-time thing. But you could also take it for the number, which is going to give you, let me skip ahead here in the video. You are going to be playing the number to move a token up here. Now, I totally forgot what it's called, but it's on the bulletin board. It's like a tug of war. So if you get to 5 on either side, then your opponent will, you get to do something. You get to move the momentum to your side. Like, can the Nixon administration ride out this wave of bad press? Or can the press take down the dirty Nixon administration? It's up to you to, play your cards right. So literally, right? I love the tug of war aspect. There's also like a network building thing. So you'll see you got President Nixon in the middle. The press is trying to connect all these clues. I mean, it's super thematic, but it's really an abstract as well. You know, you're just trying to connect from one of the witnesses, try to get them to basically rat out the president. As you do, you place tokens, and if you can get 2 of them to the president, then you've taken down the administration. The press has done its job. Oh man, I love this game. Michelle and I, we really we love the theme. The gameplay is sharp, but the theme really, I mean, it's funny. The rule book, you'll read the rule book. Half of it's, you know, the rules, and it's really easy to understand. But the other half is literally the history of the event. So it's an educational game as well, which again, Michelle's a teacher, and we both appreciate that. Oh, it's a fantastic game. Highly recommend. This is one of our favorite games of recent years, and for us, it's an evergreen. We will continue to enjoy that. So that's our number 4 2-player game, Watergate. Moving on to number 3, getting to the top 3, folks. Another, gosh, I love these games. This is Targi, and hey, here I am playing with Jackie from Show Me How to Win. Haven't seen Jackie in a while. I hope she's doing well. I should say hi to her. But this one, she crushed me on this. This is a worker placement game, so brilliantly done. And it's 2 players, and what you're doing, you're trying to collect different sets of resources to turn those in for your own private tableau, and you're going to score those based on, you know, what sets you've collected. You'll get various points. But what's really clever about this, and I don't think I've seen this in other worker placement games, you have 2 or 3 workers. You place them on the outer edge of a tableau, and then, you know, that's your turn. You and your opponent take turns, and then at the end of that, you are going to look at the cross section where your meeples or your workers go, and then you're going to place your marker there, and then those are the actions you're going to take. You're going to take an action on your original meeples that you placed down. Then you're going to take an action at the intersection of where they, you know, met. And that's so clever, and I haven't seen it. I can't think of any other game that does this, and especially with worker placement. It's a brilliant design. The expansion adds more stuff to it. I love it. It's about a 45-minute game. This is probably one of the more, probably a little deeper, more complex worker placement games. And I don't mean complex, I shouldn't say complex, it's just a deeper thinking game, because you have so many options as to where you can place your workers, and, you know, where do you go first? Are you trying to line up one column? Because once you put your work in a column, your opponent cannot go there. Now, there are some abilities that let you break those rules, which I love, and you see that on the outer edge. So as you go, and you also have to worry about bandits. You know, you're out in the desert here trying to, you know, take care of your tribe. Bandits are going to try to steal some of your resources, so you got to be careful of that as well, because every corner that you get to, you know, that's the timer of the game. Each corner you're going to have to give up either victory points or resources, so you sort of have to plan for that. You want to block your opponents as well. Oh, and it's so good. Targi, I love Targi. Well, it's one of my favorite worker placement games, period. But for 2-player, the best 2-player worker placement game out there, and that is Targi, folks. All right, let's move on to our number 2. We got top 2. What do y'all think it's going to be? Number 2, Akrotiri. I do not hear enough about this game. I do not know why. I think, well, here's Rahdo playing it back in the day. This is when he was still in Malta. This is a brain burner. It is a 2-player game. They say you can play 4 players if you combine 2 copies. I would never want to play this at 4 players, to be honest. It's just way too much downtime, because you really got to think this out. It's a tile laying game. You know, you're just exploring the islands and trying to get resources to discover these temples. You know, when you have a certain number, you go and you take the action. But here's the thing. The thing that makes this so good, it's got this market manipulation mechanism. Market manipulation mechanism. Wow, the 3 M's, folks. Where you are trying to get goods, pick up and deliver, you know, certain goods from certain islands and deliver them back to the main island. And whatever the market is at that point, that's how much money you're going to get. That money is going to help you get more tiles, more missions, the secret missions, give you abilities and so forth. Oh man, this is Senfu Ling and Jay Cormier. They are a brilliant pair of designers. Anytime I see their name on the box, I'm like immediately interested. They do so much good stuff. They've done a bunch of those, the haunted, escape. It's like escape games that they do with the op, like the Haunted Mansion one with Scooby-Doo. They did The Shining. Those are all excellent. And they've also done, I think, a totally underrated game of theirs, folks. If you ever get a chance to check it out, there's a Godfather dice game. Oh, now I forget the name of it. The Godfather, I'll put it in the show notes in the YouTube video. but it's such an underrated game. It's like Las Vegas, the dice game, but more for gamers. And it's got area control to it. Really underrated game. But anyways, this game, Akrotiri, you're laying down tiles, and it's you're building routes along here so your ship can move around. And as you discover different tiles, that's gonna different temples are gonna pop up that you want to try to dig up. And hey, I've done this archaeological find. I found the temple. It's a race to 6. And you have it's an action selection meets tile laying meets pick up to deliver. It's so much going on. It's super. I don't want to say super crunchy, but boy, you can really. It's a brain burner for 2. It's wonderful. Absolutely love it. I don't know. I'm not sure why more people don't talk about it. I think it's brilliant. But yeah, that's my number 2, Akrotiri. And now let's move on to our number 1, friends. This is it. This is it. My favorite, Michelle's favorite too, for 2-player. It's a classic. It's Patchwork from Uwe Rosenberg. I think this is such a clean design. We love polyomino games, and this one has the perfect mix of, number 1, I just love the theme. There's no other. I have no other quilting games in my collection. Right? I love the theme. It's different, right? And I love when, companies or designers or publishers or developers do something a little outside of the box, like not everything has to be Vikings and, zombies and sci-fi or fantasy, whatever. Why not a quilting game? So what you're doing here, you're building a quilt using polyomino pieces, and you go through, and it's got this really just wonderful currency system. You're getting buttons, and actually in the video you can see I love this game so much I got actual buttons from the dollar store to use in the game. So the buttons, certain quilt pieces have the buttons on them, and you are going to be using those, spending those to buy more pieces in your quilt. But then the timing comes along. Each piece has a timer, and you're going to move along the timer track, and that's going to determine the end of the game. So you don't want to go too fast, but you don't want to go too slow and miss out the pieces you want. And as you fill up the pieces, you're filling up your quilt, you're going to move along the track. Anytime you hit a button, you're going to get income. You're going to get more buttons based on what you have on your quilt already. Oh, Michelle always crushes me at this game. I love it. And now I'm thinking about it, I was talking about earlier that on BGA, I play a lot. I played in a Patchwork tournament. I play second. I think all those times losing Michelle really helped me, help my Patchwork game, because she's really good about getting the income going. So I started doing that, taking her lead in that. Anyways, the game is just so smooth. It takes about 20-25 minutes. It's a 2-player only, and as you can see, Michelle's using her little tweezer tongs there to grab the pieces. Well, trying to grab the pieces because going across the table. There's a lot of pieces here, and you're trying to fit it in perfectly in your quilt, because at the end of the game, just like some Uwe Rosenberg classics, you're gonna get negative points for empty spaces, and there are a lot of times you're gonna end with 2 negative scores. So if you can fill them all up, the first to have like a 7x7 grid, you're gonna get bonus points. I think the total thing is 9x9. But it's super tense, especially towards the end of the game, because you want those pieces that'll fit, because if you can't fit them, then you got to pass, folks, and that always hurts. But anyways, that is a brilliant game. I mean, I love all these games that we talked about, but Patchwork is my number 1 top 2-player game. So, friends, thank you so much for joining me. That has been the top 2-player games for 2022. I'm doing 12 different gift guides, so click on the link below for my top 10 first games of the collection. You've been watching the top 2-player games, and next week, for week number 3, I don't think I'll do top 3-player games, but who knows? Maybe we'll do it. We'll see. But come back next week, and if you haven't already, check out the one we did last week. Until next time, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you later. Bye.